Hello and welcome to 10 p.m. with Galinsky. Good to see you all. Tonight I wanted to start off with a commentary, a comment that I feel like I need to make because I've been getting a lot of people from the suburbs calling me to say, hi, how are you? Checking in. I'm good. How are you? And they're like, well, I'm good too. There is not a lot of things going on here in the suburbs. So I just wanted to start by saying, look, I grew up in the suburbs. It's a filter that I see the world through, and it's a big part of me. Although I've been in New York City for 30 years, the bulk of my life, I'm a city boy with suburban roots and friends from the burbs that they, again, like I said, have been reaching out. What can I do? A lot of people are asking me, what can I do? It's peaceful where I am. There's not a lot of rioting and things going on. And so they're telling me there's not too many disturbances going on. Well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to know that now is the time in that peaceful space that you're in that you can be an ally. Be the ally that has been asked for. Posting comments and resharing articles on social media, it's good. That's part of it. But the ally that I'm asking you to be is the one that steps over that line of virtual commenting and one that takes action. So I put together some ideas after consulting with some of my friends and colleagues who are Black. Things that white people can try, and you will, without a doubt, change the world for the better if you do try. So number one, overall, get out of your comfort zone, your usual comfort zone. Now is the time. We're all sitting in our zone. Now's the time to test your limits, your fear, break your boundaries, and be bold, and do some of the following things that I'm going to ask you to do that fall out of your usual comfort zone. Number one, go volunteer with your skill set somewhere. Go, if you're a doctor, or a web designer, a seamstress, a construction worker, a cook, gardener, accountant, manager, be bold, go offer help. Look at arts organizations in your community and offer some help. Almost all of the small arts organizations and community centers got no stimulus money. All the stimulus money went to the big businesses and the larger arts organizations. So donate your time. If you can donate money, great, do that too. But if not, donate your time to some of these nonprofit organizations because they serve our youth. And our youth are the strength of the present and the strength of the future. It's a long weekend. I'm seeing that in the chat. It's been a long weekend. It's been a long couple months. Step out of your comfort zone. Number three, just research. If there's any Black-owned businesses or organizations in your community, shop there. Hire their services. Support their businesses so that they can thrive and bloom. Visit a Black church and offer to contribute your services or your skills. Step out of the comfort zone. If you know businesses that are ignoring the problem of the violence on Black brothers and sisters, or they're indifferent to that violence, or they're condoning even the vile separation of us, don't shop there. You don't have to put a sign on to boycott their business. You don't have to stand out in front and boycott, but just don't show up there. Don't buy from them and don't take services from there. We can live and work together and open up more opportunity for everybody, and it'll cascade into everything for us, into a positive thing. Number four, this is the most important one. It's the one I've heard the most from all of my friends who are of color. Listen more. Listen to what your Black neighbors, your colleagues, your coworkers, your students, listen to what they're saying. And this time, listen in a way that you may not have listened before. Don't speak. Don't speak, just listen. Hear the thoughts, their opinions, the facts. Hear it all with a fresh outlook because you're not talking and explaining what you know. Listen, feel, hear, and take that in. I promise you it's going to be a better world if we do this. Excuse me. Tomorrow night, my good friend Jamal Joseph is going to be with us. He told me that people are writing him letters. White people are writing him letters, offering help from afar and just sharing their feelings with him. Go out of your way. Do the same thing. Get out of your comfort zone. Now's the time. Go back to step number one. out of your comfort zone. You're going to enjoy personal breakthroughs. That's where all the great stuff happens. When you step out of your comfort zone, you shock yourself, and you'll spread peace and harmony in your community. And it doesn't matter if it's in the suburbs and it's not where all of this rotten, terrible, violent rioting and action is taking place. The vibration of your energy and positivity is going to spread throughout our whole world and make this a better world. I love y'all. And now I'm going to bring in my guest, who also is making this a better world, because she's sharing her stories, and she's hilarious too. And there's a theme here tonight with her book, Duped. You know, we're all being duped. We don't know who to listen to. We don't know where the truth is. And her story about being duped is very powerful. And we're going to share the next 30 or 40 minutes with her. So please welcome Abby Ellin. Hi, Abby.
Hello, Galinsky Mundo. What's shaking?
How you doing?
What did I miss? I want to know what I missed.
Now you'll have to go back and I guess you'll have to go back and watch.
Okay.
I just wanted to, what you missed was my plea to my white brothers and sisters when I put my racial lenses on, to some things that we can do to help make this world work better. That's what you missed. So in the chat room, we've got some really cool people that have been with us, the show, for a long time. Katha Cato from the Queens World Film Festival. Turko Ono is with us. Destiny Gay.
Hello, Destiny Gay. Hello.
Whitney Collins. Charisse Boyack. Ranjit is with us. Jack Fuller from the West Coast. Yay!
Jack Fuller from the West Coast.
My brother Andrew Galinsky, Winnie Maria, Alice Wilder. Dr. Alice Wilder. What? Dr. A?
Wilder? I barely know her. Sorry.
That's the kind of show it's going to be, people.
Yes.
Tammy T is with us. Gabriella. Wendy. Who else is with us? Scott Irwin. Let's see. Nara Garber. So every so often, we're going to go back into the chat. Audience members that are new, if you see me looking this way and looking that way, it's because I'm looking at different chat windows trying to get your questions and comments into the show. Abby, let's go. Let's start with Duped. Duped. Yeah.
Duped. Double Lives, False Identities, and The Con Man I Almost Married.
How many books have you written?
Well, I've written 5, but some of them are only 2 are under my own name. So,
okay. So Duped is your latest. Tell us in a nutshell what Duped is about.
Duped is about this lovely, awesome, nice Jewish doctor I met, who I was engaged to, who turned out to be a pathological liar and went to jail.
What were some of the
motto? Some lies? Oh God. He would it was weird because on the one hand, he told me things that were actually true, but he didn't need to lie about them. Like, he really was a doctor. He really was in the military. He was a Navy doc. But he told me that he met his ex-wife in Iran when he rescued her when she was held hostage in Iran. And of course, she'd never been to Iran. And he told me that he was held hostage in China, and that is why he screamed in the middle of the night, because they used to beat him up. But then he escaped. Luckily, he was a long-distance runner in college, and so he was able to escape and run like Forrest Gump. And he would tell me that, he would always have to leave because he was going on these super secret missions.
He was a CIA or something?
He used to work in conjunction with the CIA, and of course he was a Navy SEAL. And he was like this little nerdy guy who used his asthma inhaler all the time. I was like, why? How would there be this little nerdy guy who was in the Navy SEAL? And I thought, what better decoy than a little nerdy guy?
So what was so you fell in love with this guy who was like a really dynamic guy, jet setter-ish, James Bond-ish?
James Bondstein. Jason Bourne-Stein. He was, but the thing that was interesting is that he was also beyond that, I met him when I was 42. So it was beyond that. It was more like, he was a really good dude. I was like, I really want a really good, solid guy, And I had met him because I interviewed him for an article in a newspaper, and he gave me a quote, and then we started talking, and then he told me that he was, opening up a hospital for kids with cancer in Iraq and Afghanistan, which actually he really was doing. He really did work at this task force at the Pentagon.
There was some good in the guy. There was some good in him.
Oh, there totally was. And he had his son who was 12, who he was really super close to, and his daughter who was 5. who we didn't quite know what to do anything with, but I met his family, his brother, his sister-in-law, his aunt, his kids. Yeah, he mixed fact and fiction and sort of shot it out of a cannon to see what would happen.
What was the tip-off? What happened? Did you?
I left him. What happened? Why did I leave? I'll tell you why. We went out to dinner with. He kept on. Things didn't add up. He would just lie about stuff. It didn't add up. And finally, we went to dinner with my parents in Washington. We were living in the Watergate, which is, of course, like ground zero for deception. And we went out to dinner with my folks, and he raved about the Brussels sprouts. They were like the greatest Brussels sprouts ever. And then we got out of there, and he said, man, that meal sucked. That was the most awful meal I've ever had. I said, why did you lie? He said, well, I wanted to make them feel good. And I thought, they don't care. They didn't cook it. And that's when I thought he could lie so convincingly about something so inconsequential. He could lie about anything. He also told me that he had treated Osama bin Laden at Guantanamo. And I was like, no, you didn't.
None of these big lies tipped you off. It was the Brussels sprouts at dinner with your parents.
Yes, and I will tell you why. And you're not, you cannot fact check I couldn't call up human resources at the CIA and be like, so listen, you got this little nerdy guy who has asthma. Is he working for you? It doesn't work like that. So I couldn't call them up, but I did as much research as I could. I was always probing. I in fact, would rifle through his messages. I did all the things you're not supposed to do that. Of course I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what?
And then I left him, and a year and a half later, I picked up the phone. I got a phone call from Special Agent Dan Ryan with NCIS. That's Naval Criminal Investigative Service. There was a doctor who was writing prescriptions for narcotics, for Vicodin. And I was one of the names he used. Did I know this doctor, and did I have a prescription for Vicodin? And I said, well, no, I like Valium. And, exactly. And you got to make these guys laugh, right? They don't always laugh. You got to make them laugh. So anyway, the kicker is that was that. And I kicked into journalist mode, and I called his ex-wife, and I called his ex-ex-wife, and I found out that he was engaged to a woman. When he was engaged to me, he had walked out on her, and he told her, he was off on a secret mission, and I was Operation Abby. He was like, okay.
So the, Turco Ono is in the chat. Hey, Turco, he wants to know, how long were you with him before you left him?
A year. I in and out, man. Mess with me, I'm out.
Yep. Now we got some Brussels sprout comments. Captain Seaman, who shows up almost.
Captain Seaman?
His name is Neems. Last name is Neems, but backwards it's Seaman. So we call him Captain Seaman.
You guys have a good time. Yeah.
And he says, I hate Brussels sprouts.
Well, it's a good thing you weren't at the meal.
But my brother Andrew says Brussels sprouts truth test works every time.
Especially if you know that Brussels sprouts has an S at the end of it, which it shouldn't, but it does. Oh. Brussels sprouts.
All right. So, so the book Duped. Hold the cover up again for us.
Duped we turned into a podcast, a 6-episode thing like Dirty John. And it got optioned for TV and film, and I don't know what's happening because we had this minor thing called COVID-19, which is a problem. Oh, look at that!
Yeah, so we actually, Tammy T, hi Tammy, said she wanted to know, has it been made into a movie yet? So
no, soon. I'm hoping Keanu Reeves will play me.
Well, I was hoping I could play the liar because I've never lied in my life, and I always love a good challenge.
Especially now. I think that was your first lie.
I'm auditioning. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, good. This is art, people. This is art. Yeah.
That's meta. So when did it actually get in your hands like this? Where was this? When was this?
Oh, that was probably during the media horror tour,
month.
February 2019.
Oh, it did. So February, you're supposed to now be going out for the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, rocking the book tour, getting momentum for.
But I did because this came out a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's good. Okay. This was at Authors Night in the Hamptons. And if you look right here behind me.
I think I can point to it with this pointer.
That's Bridget Moynihan. She's on, what is she on? Blue Blood, one of those shows? I don't know.
Big advocate of the book. She did a lot of pushing for the book for you.
She clearly did a whole lot of pushing. No, I asked her to, but as a press time, nothing's happened. But that's okay.
Okay. She's not in the movie.
It's very nice. Yeah, not playing me.
All right. So I'm assuming that a lot of this incredible humor and wit that we're getting right now is in the book. Yeah.
Clearly. Oh my God, that book is hilarious.
All
For
right.
example, should I read you a line?
Yeah.
Should I? Well, I didn't plan this, so I don't know if I can. One of the lines is something about how when he got busted, he told them, the police or the NCIS, that he was stockpiling drugs for the kids in Afghanistan and Iraq, in the hospital. And my line was, of course, everyone knows that poor starving children in the Middle East really need narcotics.
That's the first thing they're begging for on the streets.
Narcotics, please give me some Vicodin. Yeah. Instead of food.
So did he get arrested?
He got arrested. He went to jail.
Okay.
And I wrote a book, Monetize Suffering.
Sucker. All right. So now we've spent 10 minutes talking about the book. How does the book elongate to a full-length book experience? What other kinds of things do you go into?
Because I do not only talk about my own story, because I am bored with myself to some degree, and also because to me it was a much more interesting phenomenon, like about lying in general and deception and duplicity. And I kept hearing, and you keep hearing, I mean, I have files of these double lives, and we keep hearing about them all the time. And what I was wondering was, is it happening more now, or are we just hearing about it? And I think the answer is both, but I think the reason is because of the internet. So we keep hearing about these stories because people are exposing them, because people have found out, because technology has made it easier to find out. It's also made it easier to have a double life. You can get software with the sounds of an airplane taking off, so you can tell your wife or whomever that you're, at the airport, when in fact you're around the corner with your fiance or, your girlfriend, whatever. You can have somebody lie and create a fake resume for you. You could have somebody create a fake alibi for you. Like, it's really easy.
And so you go into all those. Do you touch on some of the other stories then of other people too?
I have and I do a whole chapter, just so you know, I do a whole chapter on women who do this. Like, it's not only guys. Oh, I know, hard to imagine, but yes, women like it.
What do you think? Let's open up the scope of being duped, where we are in our country today, in our world. What's your
We're beyond duped. We're fucked. Am I allowed to swear on this show?
Yes, you are.
Good.
Actually,
I think,
every time you swear, we donate $5 to Captain Satan's name change fund.
Fuck.
All right, good. Yeah, so tell me what your feeling is about
the world?
Yeah, the world. What
I think is really disturbing is that no one trusts anybody, and it's not just the left who don't trust, who doesn't trust the right, and the right who doesn't trust. I mean, no one is trustworthy. No one feels like, I think, no one feels like anyone is trustworthy, and it's especially in power, the people in power, and that, we need to, in my opinion, drain the swamp across the board on both sides of the aisle.
You're quoting a great and fearless leader with that.
We're what?
I said, you're quoting a great and fearless leader with that quote, drain the swamp.
Yeah, well, I'm part of the mainstream media. So
let's segue into that. You write for the Times, you write for so many different publications. Everybody's been hit hard because of the pandemic with loss of work. Are you experiencing anything?
No, I'm actually busier than ever, and I'll tell you why. I'm really pathologically, like, I travel all the time because I don't like to stay put. This has caused me, I was in Brazil, and then I had to come home for a family thing, and so I came home. So I've been in my apartment in New York City, which is now like literally in the Village. Literally, the protesters were outside my door last night.
Wow.
And I mean, it was kind of amazing. We all were outside watching it. But I have been in one place. I haven't been able to travel, and because I haven't been able to travel, I've been working, because I had all these stories that I had that I didn't do and that I needed to do, and that I sort of transformed them into COVID stories. And so I've been really super busy.
Good.
Knock wood. Yeah, but at some point it'll end. I'm in this industry called media and journalism, which is, I don't know if you heard, but it's sort of dying.
Yeah, because everybody who has a camera and can type a decent sentence is now a influencer, blogger.
Yeah, exactly.
And world-class photographer.
Clearly, yes.
Couple things in the chat. Let's go to the chat for a second. Scott Irwin just joined us. Nara Garber is with us. Hi, Nara.
Hi, Nara.
Terry Schnook, who's a producer of The Bench, but more so is a Broadway producer, put together Beautiful and Spring Awakenings. Terry Schnook, got to get you on the show, Terry.
Terry did Beautiful?
Terry's one of the...
I love Beautiful, and I loved Spring Awakening. Love.
There you go.
Wait, I want to talk about Nara. When people are leaving, do they say sayonara? Sorry.
Laura, let us know if they do. Elizabeth Harder is with us. Hi, Elizabeth. Let's see. Julia joined us. Brent Morgan, who will be on the show Wednesday.
Brent Morgan, Captain Morgan, Spice Rum.
Captain Morgan. Let's see here. Mary's with us. Simone Valmont, the Lizard, is with us. Keith Davis. Great to see you, Keith. I sent you that email today. Amy Alt. Hi, Amy. She wants to know, have you recorded it on audiobooks?
It is on audiobooks, and you can get it. It is not my voice, and the reason it is not my voice is because they said you really don't want to do it. It's long, it's boring, and it's monotonous, and it's not a lot of money. And I said okay. And having done the podcast, which this was an episodic thing. It wasn't like a talk show like this. It's scripted. It's long. It's laborious. It's monotonous. It's fun.
Have you listened to any of it?
No. I don't want to hear it.
Mickey Smith just joined us. We got some questions. How long did Turco Ono wants to know, how long did it take you to write it and then to get it into print?
I had been thinking about it because this all went down in 2010. So I had been thinking about it. He got arrested in 2012. I had been thinking about it since then. Like when he got arrested, I can't tell you how elated I was. It was like, yes, I was right. I knew there was something wrong with this guy. And finally I found out. It took me about 2 years to research.
By the way, that's a siren in her neighborhood, not mine.
That is a siren, and I could not stop the sirens. But yeah, they're going. I'm sure there's a looting situation.
Yeah, we've had. You and I are only a few blocks away from each other, and we had up and down Avenue B, up and down Avenue A, and up and down Second Avenue, 30, 40 storefronts at least. The windows bashed in.
Are they smashing? Are they now? Do they have wood on them? Because in my neighborhood, they all have wood.
Them, and actually, seven people caught on camera. On Avenue C, breaking into about 10 different places, and not just breaking in and walking away, smashing windows, but going in, taking the register, taking iPads, leaving actually a lot of product, but stealing money out of the registers and iPads and equipment.
You know, what's interesting is that you're talking about deception. A lot of people think that there are rumors running around that a lot of the protesters are anti-right, far-right people.
Yeah.
Who are trying to have this look good for Trump. I don't know how this is going to look good for Trump. I don't know, but I'm sure
it'll look great for Trump because he can declare martial law.
Right.
And then he becomes, if it works, it's a big gamble. He becomes the savior because he shut down this big thing. But he's going to militarize it first.
But that's the thing. I mean, again, it's like no one is trusting anything. Right. No one knows what to believe about anything. We're like this gaslit nation.
Amazing. Zero Boy just jumped into the chat room, and Zero does a cabaret on Thursday nights, virtual cabaret called the COVID Cabaret through the
I want to come.
It's great. It's through the Metropolitan Theater online. Let's see. Turco Ono's got a really easy question for you.
Turco Ono has been asking a lot of questions.
Turco's the man.
Turco and the man.
Here's the question. How do we fix it? If we can't trust any of the politicians and corporations, what's your take? How do we fix it?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think we need someone like to come in who's not a politician and not a loaded business person and not full of shit. And yet by definition, it seems like whoever wants that job is full of shit. And so, I've always wanted to somehow examine the presidential brain. Anybody who wants that job, immediately there has to be something wrong with them by default, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, it's insane. Anyone who thinks they can do that job, there has to be something wrong with them. So I don't know what the answer is. That's really, you talked about this for the first 5 minutes when I was in the green room. So what's your answer, Galinsky?
Mine was to step out of your comfort zone and just keep doing the things that aren't familiar to you. That's generally what I was saying.
I think that's right, but Toko was asking about leadership, right?
Yeah, no, I for what I said at the top of the show would not necessarily.
Okay, so ignore whatever he said at the top of the show.
I said, I think I agree with you. We got, somewhere a person, not a person, a team of people, a group of people have to get their gonads up and do it. Forfeit your lobbyists' fortunes for the good of the human race.
Yep.
That's one big thing right there.
It's but you know, the kink in the fly in the ointment, the kink in the ointment, the fly in the ointment is that it's money. That's the problem. And you need money to do all this stuff. And, you know, people sell their soul for money. End of story, to accomplish things. And then and that's how it begins, because then you start owing people and you need to pay them back and you need to, you know, pay back your debts and whatever it is. I mean, that's the problem, the almighty dollar.
Amy Alt says, have you heard of Red Flags, Frenemies, Underminers by Wendy Patrick?
No.
So then we all have an assignment. Red Flags, Frenemies, Underminers by Wendy Patrick.
When did it come out?
I don't know, but let's move on.
Okay.
You can multitask. Cool.
Thank you.
Hey, Michael. Michael Swiskey says, alas, the most skilled practitioners of deceit have also mastered the art of getting away with it. Oh, our lamentable culture of subterfuge.
Well, can I say something?
Please.
Part of the reason they get away with it is because you know, there's this thing called betrayal blindness, and people don't want to see what they don't want to see. So, and that's why so many people, let's just use an example, on the right, who are believers in Trump, will say, I don't think he's lying. He's not lying, because he that is their narrative, and their beliefs jive with his, or his jive with theirs. So that's what so they don't see things. So people aren't seeing necessarily what is happening on that side. And then you get the other side for their people and blah, blah, blah. So A, people don't want to see the lies. And B, if they see the lies, a lot of times they say, well, it's okay because look, he's good or she's good in other areas, right? Look at what Bill Clinton, everybody knew what Bill Clinton was doing. Everyone knew he was a big dog with women. And yet so many people, especially women, were like, well, you know, we think he's good. He's pro-choice. He's this, he's pro, you know.
And they chuckled and accepted it. Yeah.
Yeah. We let people get away with it. Yep.
Santos Rivera. Hey, Santos, good to see you, brother. He said, how about a war against the rich? Yikes. I don't know.
You know, I feel like the Bolsheviks are coming in. A war against the rich, but what does that mean? Like, what is the war?
I don't think sticks and stones, bombs and bullets war. I mean, I think there's other ways to go to war and get, it's not so much the rich, it's the rich lying politicians and business leaders, as you said.
It's really the I really feel like the politicians are the problem. I really do. And I'm a left person, but I still, you know, it's not like they're so saintly on the left, all of them. They're not. And it's faulty to believe that. And I think if you're going to do anything, and then I'll shut up, if you're going to do anything, I think it's really important to watch both the Fox News and the MSNBC.
I do both.
It's important to know what the other side is saying.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Tucker Carlson I'm a fan. Anytime I need to induce vomiting, Tucker Carlson.
There you go. The Carlson phenomenon. Yeah.
Patricia Whitcast just joined us, and Patricia is going to be a guest on this show at some point. Mark Scarpa just joined us. Great to see you, Mark. Mr. Telepresence is in the house, and he just popped in a link in the chat. Metallica's Master of Puppets. Great track, and it totally makes sense. Let's see. Samantha Fairstein's here. Kathleen Wills. Okay.
Hi, Kathleen.
We don't have any more questions right now, so that means we're going to go to some photographs. And we saw this one, but let's move on. So you meet a lot of celebs. You meet a lot of people. You're a jet setter. Tell us.
Very important. Lorraine.
We're going to go through a few of these.
Lorraine,
Laverne. So you're going to tell us a couple of.
That was at an Orange is the New Black event. Actually, it was for women. We're the Women's Prison Association. It was a benefit because one of my friends, you'll see who it is when we flip down the road, but she's very big with the Women's Prison Association, and you'll see.
And there you are on Dr. Oz in the green room.
On Dr. Oz eating.
By the way, was our green room food for this show better or as good as this?
Oh, the caviar was spectacular.
So you're in a sandwich chair.
The guy, that was at the Tony Awards, and the guy on the left, literally, the guy on the left with a beard, his name for real is James Bond. And we lived together for 6 years. I mean, roommates, platonically.
You fall in love with a lot of these guys who have these double images.
Isn't that name? No, he's got a boyfriend. But yeah, James Bond. And we were at the Tony Awards. That was fun.
Okay. There he is again.
James, yes, he's a theater director.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, not a liar. Woman, I don't know that woman, why she's wearing the same color dress that I am.
The woman behind getting upset?
Yeah, the photo bomber, yeah.
There she is.
Who is she?
She's the one who's pointing out where's my husband's left hand.
Yeah.
Where was it? Rated R, not X, rated R.
Uranus.
Okay. And there you are. So you met him twice, 2 different occasions?
2 different occasions. One was at a, oh, sorry. I thought I shut that off. I met him,
That's
sorry.
probably him. That's probably him calling. He's watching.
That's Bill. I met him, wait, I'm turning that off because I thought it was off. I met him at, yeah, that was a benefit for Hillary.
Both of them?
No, the first one actually, I was at a Barbra Streisand concert.
Wow.
And I paid, it wasn't even a concert. That's how much of a loser I am. It wasn't even a concert. It was to watch her get an award at Lincoln Center. And afterwards there was a party and my friend and I we snuck in.
I gotcha.
And Bill was there and then we got kicked out. That's Phil Liggett. Phil Liggett. If you are a cyclist or interested in cycling or the Tour de France, you would know Phil. He's the voice of cycling.
Gotcha. And this is Mr. Spock.
Leonard.
And how did you, what'd you do with him? Well, how did you have
Nimoy called me up one day for real. I had written a big story about something called fat studies. It was going to be like queer studies, gender study, women's studies, and the study of obesity on college campuses. Leonard Nimoy called me up. I guess he emailed me. Then he called me, Nimoy here. He had been photographing obese naked women, and he wanted me to write about it. And so I did for the Times.
And you did write a book about, tell us about you as a child. You were a fat kid, right?
I was not fat. I was not a fat kid.
Wait a minute. That's the title of your book. Don't get on me.
No, I know. Teenage Waistland. Former fat kid weighs in on living large, losing weight, and how parents can and can't help. It was basically about the 6 years I spent, maybe more, 7 years, at fat camps. First, I went when I was 16, and then I worked at them for like 6 years.
Okay.
And I was never really obese, but I had a bit of a weight problem.
Did you go because you wanted to go, or your parents said you should go?
Because I had gotten so much shit in my family. When I was 12, my grandmother said, "You can't come visit me in Florida unless you lose 10 pounds."
Wow. Turco Ono's all up in your game here. He wants to know, tell us about Fat Camp.
What do you want? I'll read the book. No, Fat Camp was, I still have friends from Fat Camp. It was, all you do at Fat Camp is think about food. Think about food, how you're going to get it, and where you're going to get it. And we would go out and people would break into the kitchen. And I remember one night my counselor snuck me out to the Grand Union and we bought like all this food. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of focus on, you lose weight because you can't not. It was a Weight Watchers camp.
Here's a picture of you as a kid. You were not fat.
No, I wasn't. I was a kid. I got fat. I gained weight when I hit puberty. No, that's me at my peak. That's called Potential Thwarted. That's the name of that picture. That was in Puerto Rico.
Hashtag Potential Thwarted.
Yes.
Let's do that one. Wow, everybody in the chat is just blowing up right now. They love this picture. They think you're amazing.
I was amazing. I was when I was whatever.
You're amazing. You still are.
7.
Jose just joined us. Athena Reich just joined us. Athena is a great musician and singer and songwriter. She's doing workshops online. I'm plugging her right now. She and I actually did some workshops at some hospitals in New York for kids who are chronically and terminally ill.
We did a story about that, Do you remember Galinsky? We did a story about Maddie
Stepanek in the New York Times. That's right.
Yeah.
Katha Cato wants to know, do you think leopards can change their spots, and what does it take?
I think leopards can only change their spots if they really, really, really want to. And I think it takes constant vigilance. And I think that fundamentally who you are is who you are. It's funny because sociopaths and psychopaths really don't change. And there's a whole thing about that if you're born without empathy, you can't create it. You can't, which is why they're so dangerous, which is why you don't know what to do with them. Because what are you going to put them on an island somewhere? Like we're going to put them all. Yeah. What do you do with them? But anyway, I think people, you can change your behaviors. Obviously, you can stop drinking, you can stop smoking, but I'm not sure if you can really change who you are in your core. I just don't know if you can.
So then we go back to war.
Then we go back to war?
Yeah, I mean, the question earlier was answered with, well, we need to go to war on these people. And if they're not going to change their spots,
But that's a different issue. They're not. I mean, that's not all the rich people are psychopaths. I mean, I don't know. That's a step.
You're psychopaths, right? You've gone deeper dive on this than I have.
Yes.
The psychopath angle. Do you think your ex would ever be able to change his spots?
No. And I think no, because I think he believes half of his lies at some point. He could pass a polygraph test, and I have a whole chapter on that in the book, which is
the cover.
Duped.
Duped is the book.
Grease is the word.
It's been out for a minute, so I just want to point out this is not the show where people go on to push their new product.
No, I'm not pushing my product at all. But I am pushing this. Look at this. You see what that is?
Yes, tell us. You have done something. If no one knows this, she has done something that so many people wish they could have done.
Yeah, I do. This is the potential unthwarted. I named an ice cream for Ben & Jerry's.
How the heck?
Karamel Sutra.
Say it again. I was talking. Sorry.
Karamel Sutra.
Karamel Sutra. You named it. How did you do that? What happened?
I was up in Vermont meeting the head flavorologist at Ben & Jerry's, Arnold Carbone. And he said to me, make a flavor. And I said, okay, here's what I want to do. And here's what I want to call it. And I said, Karamel Sutra. And 6 months later, they called me up and they said, okay, we want to make it. I said, what are you going to pay? They said, nothing. But every year they send me hundreds of coupons for free ice cream. I'm sure I've given you some before.
No.
Well, maybe I thought they were in the rollerblades.
Well, I think it's worth me battling the rioters and looters to get to your place.
It is. Free pints, any flavor.
We got stuff going on in the chat here. Samantha S. Firestein has said, I know someone who went to fat camp and then sent her a FedEx of chocolates and she got kicked out.
Oh, wait, do I know her? What camp? Do you know her? What's her name, Samantha?
Samantha, tell us what camp it was. Let's see. Andrew Einhorn, the Andrew Einhorn, who I think you know.
I know Andrew Einhorn.
No, who's going to be a guest on the show upcoming as well. He wants to know, what TV shows did Abby watch as a child and how did they influence her thinking or development then and now?
Well, I loved Underdog. I loved Underdog. I did not like Mighty Mouse. I loved the Flintstones. I loved, the Brady Bunch, the Partridge Family. I mean, for me, Reuben Kincaid, he's a god. I watched, the typical Laverne and Shirley, Fantasy Island, Saturday Night, All in the Family, the Jeffersons.
How do you think these things affected your development? That's what he wants to know.
I think I'm stuck. I think as I said, I think I peaked in like 1978, and that's when those shows were on. So how do I think that? I think, that's a good question. I think Match Game. I used to watch the Match Game with Gene Rayburn and that skinny little microphone. Yeah, Richard Dawson is the guest and Janice Pennington is one of the guests. I think, let's say I wanted to be a celebrity. I really wanted to be a guest on The Love Boat. That's what it did. It made me want to achieve. Those shows affected me and they made me want to.
Cool. Katha Cato says, I directed Footloose at a fat camp once.
Which fat camp?
So Samantha, what fat camp? And Katha, what fat camp?
And were the kids?
Go ahead, sorry.
No, were the kids dancing? Because that's great. That's how you lose weight. You dance.
We'll find out. Samantha just said the girl sent herself a FedEx package of chocolates.
I'm sure she did. What camp?
We're finding out, hopefully. Bill Neems, Captain Seaman, says, she's talking about my brother. She's right when you were talking about sociopaths.
Oh, good. I mean, I'm sorry, but yeah, they don't change, right? Right, Neiman?
Mark David Birnbach just joined us. Wally Green is with us. Wally's going to be on the show this Friday.
Can I say something about Wally? There was a teacher in my high school named Wally Ulick, and somebody walked up to him and said, they're passing by him, and they said, hello, Wally. And I said, hello, Beeve. And it was really funny. And to me, I cracked myself up.
Yeah, it must have been funny then and there. Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Well, Wally's going to be on the show this Friday, so come back and tell that story again.
Oh, I will. Hello, Beep.
Andrew Einhorn says we watched all the same shows.
No, we did, because that's what, and then it was Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Three's Company, and Soap on Tuesday nights. Soap with Billy Crystal and the puppet.
Don't tell me All in the Family and the Jeffersons weren't in the mix.
No, I've already said that. I walk like George Jefferson. I do. I go like I do. I strut.
John Harris just joined us. He's Josh Harris's brother. John Harris.
Josh Harris has siblings?
Josh is from a family, I think, of 6 or 7, believe it or
They're
not.
like the Von Trapps. Wow.
Katha said that it's something in Pomona, California. The kids were sad and mad.
I bet was it on a college campus? I think it was. Mine was on like an actual camp, summer camp, but yeah.
So, and Samantha says maybe Camp Pocono Trails. She's thinking.
It was Camp Pocono Trails. Okay, the same guy who ran Pocono Trails, Tony Sparber. I call him Antonio Sparberino. He ran the camp I was at called Camp Coling, and he moved it to Pocono Trails. Yeah.
We're running toward the end of our time, so people throw in some more questions for us. We're going to look at another couple of photos here. What do you call this picture?
Short and Shorter.
Nice. And what was the occasion?
He was in a show somewhere. I interviewed him. I had dinner with him and Matthew Broderick and an actress called Katie Finneran, who's wonderful. Matt LeBlanc. Yeah, that was in Austin, Texas. Look he has such good posture. Yeah, I think the last time I smoked a cigarette was with Matt LeBlanc. I needed to talk to him for a story for something, and he went outside to smoke. So I was like, I'll go bum a cigarette.
He's got great shoulder span.
Thanks, man. Shoulder span, like that's okay. So that is Piper Kerman from Orange is the New Black, which brings us back. We just came full circle because Laverne Cox, right, from Orange is the New Black. This is the woman who wrote Orange is the New Black.
Got it. So you go serious XM.
I'm a very serious person. Yeah.
Dr.
John. Oh, I was in New Orleans when he died. I interviewed him for something. He was cool. Then I went, yeah, he was a good guy. Didn't make any fucking sense. I could not understand a word he said. And
let me ask you this. How do you keep yourself from being starstruck? You've seen a lot of celebrities, a lot of people that do amazing things.
I feel like, especially now in my older age, let them be excited to meet me. There are people, I feel, honestly, it's been you and I have had friends who've died. My sister just died. Like, I've had all these deaths this year. And at the end of the day, we're all going to the same place. They're just people. They are just people.
At the end of today?
At the end of today, we're all going to the same place. Yeah, we're all going to Whole Foods. No, we're going to the same place. We're going to be either in the bottom of the ocean or sprinkled out over a meadow or in the ground. They're just people.
All right, let's go. We're coming toward the end once more. I'm going to repeat that. So let's go to a little personal stuff. You are a mountain climber.
Unnecessary activity number 726. I climbed Kilimanjaro. I decided to do that for my 40th birthday, and I had broken my wrist a month before I left, and my arm was in a cast. But I had already paid, so I went. It was great. That is potential thwart. Oh.
Here's our buddy in the middle there with the glasses.
Andy Morris and our friend Steve Holmberg. And Andy's died. But I met Galinsky through Andy.
Andy's in the white shirt, everybody. And Andy Morris is, in my opinion, a PR genius. There has never been a moment where I've had an idea that I walk up to him and say, Andy, here's my idea. And within 5 minutes, he's got 10 suggestions and 4 of them are insane. They're awesome. He was brilliant. He passed away suddenly this past fall.
He had a stroke, 53.
And so this is your reaction to that passing. You got into tribal.
Yeah, no, that was National Body Painting Day, which I'm sure you know about. But I was body painted, full naked, whatever. I didn't know if this was an family friendly show, so I didn't send those pictures of the full body. Your anus, my anus.
That is a bummer and a letdown.
That's my cello. You don't want to hear me play.
Are you good? No, you're good.
No, I suck, but I dig it. I started as an adult. I wanted to learn.
I have been taking piano lessons via YouTube.
Are you good?
No, I'm terrible, but the lessons are great.
Yeah. Do you have a big piano, so to speak?
Kind of a personal question.
It is. I know.
I have a regular.
I heard it was very big with many, many keys, many chords.
Lots of chords and quite a bit of harmony. I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
No, I got a regular sized piano in my place. 5th floor walk up. It was beautiful on the 1st floor. By the time I got to the 5th floor, it looked like it came from Sanford and Son, which is a show I grew up on.
Sanford, da 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 da. Da, 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 da. You know what? When I am really he cracks me up.
Yeah, he's great.
He's great, Red Fox. He was great. I laughed. Ah, my heart. Ah!
So what's really funny is Athena Reich is watching the show, She types into the chat, hey, Robert, great show. I need to ask you some things about tech. I'll message you. So now she messages me now. And Athena, I'm looking at your message. So I'm going to put everybody on hold for a second. Just give me a minute. I'm going to answer this message. Now I'm not. I love it. The multitasking factor on the show is awesome.
She wanted you to answer her question about tech?
Yeah, I'll get to it. But it's just funny that people are excited and they just put their stuff right at you, which I love. I love it, Athena. I'm teasing you. Stax Cordero just joined us. Mark Bernbach wants to know if he can tickle your ivories. Mine
or his?
Yours.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we don't have ivories we have strings, so you can tickle my G-string. I had to say that. Come on. That's so obvious.
That was a little, you're not, it's kind of like you B flat, but it was good. Yeah. Gary Ray just joined us. Andrew Einhorn has another question. What are Abby's favorite countries in the world and why?
Andrew Einhorn, I really like Cuba. I love Cuba. I've been there twice. I love Cuba. They are the most amazing people. I was there on New Year's Eve, and every single person I met invited me into, this is years ago, they invited me in for New Year's Eve. And then I bought a painting from a woman, and I didn't have enough money to pay for it. And I said, can I send you the money? And then you send me it. She said, take it, and you pay me back.
Right.
And that's what I did. Amazing. I love Cuba, and I love Vietnam, and I love Brazil.
What are the top skills somebody needs to be a really good journalist? And especially in this time when everybody can be a journalist, so to speak.
You gotta trust no one. You gotta be suspicious of everyone. You have to be curious about everything.
Why do you have to trust no one?
Because I think you have to. I wouldn't say you have to assume that there's more going on beneath the surface, because there always is. Right. So the story you're getting is not necessarily the story.
And then now let's take it to another step. How do you, again, with so many outlets and so much free content and so much free information, true or false, accurate or not, how do you make a living doing it?
Well, I'm old, so I've been doing this a long time,
You've already got connections and grooves.
Yeah, I had a column in the New York Times. I mean, I have connections. I'm actually moving into writing. I've started to write scripts, and I'm doing some of that because I don't want to do journalism full time anymore. It's not. Do
you have any roles for a 35-year-old guy who's prematurely gray? 35.
If you know any 35-year-old guys who live in the East Village who are gray, let me know.
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Callie Greenberg said, trust no one, which is good. You just explained.
Hi, Callie, but I did accept your friend request, so I hope you're who you say you are.
Marcos Rivera says, Viva Cuba. Sean Kolar just joined us. Capper, hey, Capper, good to see you, brother.
Capper.
So would you then say to young people who want to be journalists now?
Don't.
Yeah.
No, they know. The young people who want to be journalists, they know how to be journalists. They grew up blogging and right. I mean, they know how to do it. To get paid for it is a different thing.
So, and books, you're right. You've written
books. I'm working on a kid's book right now, which I'm really into.
Everything I've heard from people who are in publishing is books are dead.
Well, I don't know. Are books dead? I mean, people have been reading a lot during this time, haven't they?
I get especially when it's out in Hollywood, people were like, you don't write a book. It's a waste of time because unless you're already famous or you're involved in some insane event that's global, you're not going to get it sold. Nobody's going to. The question is not so much, what are you writing about? What's the book about? But the first question is, how many Instagram followers do you have?
Well, it's a popularity contest. I mean, that's if you want to get a good deal and make money. Yeah, you need the Instagram followers. And I don't do Instagram really. I have a thing, but I don't do it. But Twitter, Facebook, all of that, LinkedIn, all that bullshit. That was not, when I was watching Fred Flintstone and Underdog and Sanford and Son and, all of that stuff, I wouldn't have imagined that I'd be having to base my career on how many fucking people like my shit. Excuse me. She's a classy broad, isn't she?
Oh, I think you put it in, it's like kind of journalistic terms. That's kind of going over some of our heads, the language you use, because we just don't understand the technical language. But I think what you're trying to say is what you just said. It's good.
Yes.
All right. Final few questions here. People do your shout outs and your kudos. We do that at the end of the show. People get like to
We want kudos, not cooties.
Right? Destiny Gay says, I love books. Santos Rivera says, libraries are for everyone.
Thank you.
Callie Greenberg says, don't let books die, and you can trust me. Andrew Einhorn says, I've been to Cuba and bought 5 pieces of art. I loved it too. So here's a question for you. In the world of Zoom, when you do calls and you do interviews, there's a factor, and I'm going to point it out right now. Are you wearing pants?
No, I'm wearing shorts.
Okay, so you are wearing some kind of pants.
Yeah, but that's not pants.
Not pants. Okay, great. What are you binging? What are you binge watching right now? Or can you suggest one or two shows or films that you think people should check out?
I just finished Years and Years. Have you seen it? It's a BBC production with HBO, and it's scary. It's this dystopian kind of family drama. It's kind of amazing. Years and Years, yeah. And I really liked Afterlife with the Ricky Gervais film. Obviously, I like English, but the Ricky Gervais series, it's about grief.
Yeah. Have you watched any of Dead to Me yet?
I watched all of it. Love it. Loved it. The writing is so, I mean, it's so
the twists and the
it's great.
Sickness that's going on.
Yeah.
All right. How has this pandemic upended your thinking? How did the shutdown and you being
I loved it. I loved it. I got sick for a while, and I don't know if I had COVID or not, but I was pretty sick for a while. No, I lost weight. I wrote a lot, and I wrote this piece in the New York Times that you can Google about finding solace in isolation. And basically it was about if you're mourning something, which I've been, because since August, it was been like one person after another died. This time, I feel like everyone's mourning something. So I felt kind of united. Everybody is sort of together in their grief and their mourning. And it helped me really, because my own, whatever I've been dealing with, someone else is dealing with the same thing, only worse, and someone else over there. And so I felt sort of a solidarity with the world. I also have this mild case of FOMO. Like, I'm always convinced the world's at a party that I wasn't invited to. I don't want to go. I just want to be invited. So, and there was no parties now. Yeah. So that went out the window. It was very liberating. I could just be. I didn't have to aspire.
That's great. That's a good point. Andrew Einhorn, speaking of parties, says, excellent show. I hope Abby will come to my LES housewarming party when the virus dissipates enough.
If I'm invited, well, I just need to be invited. I can't say I'll come, but I just need to be invited.
Catherine Wilchie says, congratulations on all your accomplishments and never stop telling the truth.
Thank you.
I agree. So my last question for you is, I ask everybody now, what's your call to action? My audience is like dedicated. There has a percentage of people listening and watching right now that have shown up every week for the past 7 weeks, every night rather. And at least 3-4 times a week. So they're soldiers. They're here to make this place better. What's your call to action for all of us?
I would say go out there and protest the hell out of whatever you feel impassioned by, and don't break shit and don't loot. But if you do, I'm a size 4.
You're awesome. Katha Cato says, she's energizing the airways. Totally agree. Couldn't have said it better. Stack says, it has been time to reset. I can do nothing but thank you for spending time with us.
Oh my God, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Seaman, Togono, Andrew Einhorn.
Show us your book cover one more time, because this is the one that's out and ready to go. Duped, Double Lives, False Identities, and The Con Man I Almost Married. And then next time you take a mouthful of Karamel Sutra, you can think of Abby.
Think of me.
All right, Abby. Thank you so much. I love you.
Thanks, babe. Love you.
Ciao.